sheeting law, which is always look for the evidence, compare the evidence against the allegation. You come up with something like staging and dumping is something we had in America. How is it done? Ours is a manual process. That is how the judges went about it. It's the correct way of going about it. Yes.
You've been here in 2013, 2017, and now in 2020. In your appreciation of the processes by the Supreme Court, what would you say?
I think this is the best. I wasn't here just 2017 one time. I was here 2017 two times. So this is the fourth petition. And I think in this one, the judges have set the bar very, very, very high. Yes, very, very high.
From the onset, when you were preparing for this case, what did it take to achieve such a verdict?
A lot of hard work, This is the first time 8 petitions were filed. 2013 we had 2, and the third one about varied votes. 2017 we had, I think, only 2. Yes, there were 2. And then the third one was just 1. This was a very unique position. Well calculated by 8 petitioners, of course, as you heard the judges saying, 1 primary and the others were proxy. Yes.
Now, lastly, lessons learned, especially in how our elections are conducted in this country. What would you say is the biggest or the 2 biggest lessons from the verdict rendered this afternoon?
One is that lawyers should not over-exaggerate or over-dramatize things. Lawyers should be what they are supposed to be rather more calculating, do not have theories that you cannot back up with evidence. And the second the next lesson is politicians ought to now accept defeat. You don't need to come to Supreme Court. Yes, accept the defeat. Yes, accept the victory, accept defeat.
And lastly, very lastly, I've said lastly again, let me say one more lastly, like the politicians do anyway. Yeah. Lessons in terms of conduct of elections. We saw 2017 there were certain improvements that were made that necessitated the conduct of this election. Is there one fundamental or 2 lessons that you can say from this verdict, the preparation for the next election, a lesson or 2 has been learned?
Well, problem is IBC is people driven, and these people are Kenyans, and unfortunately politicians appear to now be getting some to now go and say, look, we are objecting to the result and that type of thing. It's unfortunate. It's a new trend. But they did a good job.
IBC tried a lot. They were very prepared. They had a portal which was open to all Kenyans. And that portal was a game changer because any Kenyan could actually be able to view the results as they were streaming in. If you will notice, nobody complained until the last day. Nobody complained. So I think Kenyans should engage more with the process. IBC did well, can continue improving their processes, but what was done this time around was very good. So the opening of the server was negated by the fact that there was a portal that had all the forms. And I think that's where every stakeholder should have engaged more keenly and then ensure you have agents everywhere. Because you cannot come to complain and expect the court to be your agent or expect IBC to be your agents. You must have your agents in every polling center and every polling station who tell you that this is what has happened when the counting is happening, and these are the numbers that have been verified from the ground. So the correct information comes from the polling station. As the counting is happening, let the agent witness every process of the electoral process that is being undertaken by IEBC.
While here, you also wear a political hat where here as the Secretary General of the UDA party, whose presidential candidate has been declared and affirmed as winner. Yes. What is your reaction as the Secretary General of the party?
We are very excited. We thank God for the win. We thank the Kenyans for voting peacefully, for holding during the whole process in a very peaceful fashion. And we thank all the Kenyans who participated in the electoral process, because it is through voting that we are able to see who is the true leader and who is the more endorsed leader by the Kenyans. So I would say Kenyans have done their part. The court has done its part. Now it's time to allow the president-elect to take up the mantle and lead Kenya to the next level. So we congratulate Dr. William Samoei Ruto for taking up the reins of this nation. Sasa kazi ianze.
Asante Professor Kimuda.
Tumemaliza.
But huwezi kosa kitu cha kusema as a veteran of these processes.
Ni kusema tu kwamba kila mtu amekuja kotini alisema kwamba yeye atakubali koti imesema nini. Kwa hivyo koti imeamua na tunatarajia kwamba kila mtu atafanya jinsi alisema hapo awali, na pia kuzungumza na Wakenya wenzetu tuelezane kwamba mambo ya uchaguzi sasa imeisha, na kwa hivyo sasa tuende kazi.
Na Babu,
I think for me is to thank the international community. I have had the privilege during this campaign to coordinate that international space on behalf of His Excellency the President-elect. And I must say that Kenya truly has good friends around the world. We have good friends who have stood on the side and allowed us to do our thing. And so the often stated complaint of interference from beyond has really not been an issue here. And even in cases where we have had observers, and we have had observers from all corners, we have had observers from the AU, from the ESC, from COMESA, from IGAD, from the EU, from all over the place. They have conducted themselves with decorum and within the bounds of the rules of allowing us to do our thing. They have also been measured. Immediately after the declaration of the results, we had a number of countries come forward to congratulate His Excellency the President-elect, and we want to thank them for that. And for those who have been waiting for this process, we thank them too, because they have paid due regard to due process. And so for Kenya's friends and partners across the world, it can only get better under the presidency of His Excellency William Samoei Ruto.
Asante sana. George Murugara, the Member of Parliament for the Raka. In your reaction and having observed this process, what would you make of it, especially in terms of growth of our democracy as a nation?
I can assure you we've made a stride in the growth of our democracy. Where we were in 2013, 2017 is not where we are today. And this is solely attributable to IEBC. That even after recommendations are made by the Supreme Court, they are moving in straight away to implement, as a result of which we are now getting better and better codes, regulations and laws, which they are using to ensure that we deliver credible, fair and believable elections. So this is very good for IEBC. In fact, it was almost obvious, it was apparent that IEBC had actually conducted this election so well that it would not be voted by anybody. So we almost expected this outcome from the Supreme Court. To the President-elect, first and foremost, we say congratulations to William Samoei Ruto, and after that, we have to assure him of a majority in the House, such that he is able to execute his mandate as president, especially through the House of Parliament, in the Senate and in the National Assembly. We assure him we will be there for him, and as the majority party, we will be able to deliver whatever it is he comes to us and he asks us to do for him and deliver for him. Of course, with the usual checks and balances, we must always be ready to check the executive for the sake of the people of Kenya.
Asante sana. Let me now hand over to Yvonne in studio. Yvonne